Gene, welcome. So, for
Hi,
everyone,
Chris.
thank you. Hello. For everyone who doesn't know, this is Gene Yang. Gene is an incredible writer. His book, American Born Chinese, was the first graphic novel to be nominated for the National Book Award. You might know him from the many comics he has written, Avatar: The Last Airbender, New Superman, which I loved, and he is here to talk about his graphic novel, Secret Coders, today. So please welcome the former Library of Congress's National Ambassador for Young People's Literature, Gene Yang. Gene, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. I mean, this is about two of my favorite things in the world. It's about technology and it's about books.
When I saw your name on the list, I was so thrilled, so thrilled. So this is an exciting moment for me. So thank you. I want to start actually with this. So before we get to Secret Coders, your newest book that's out, I want to start with your art style. Your art is so iconic. American Born Chinese, again, so celebrated. And this is the STEAM Race to Space Challenge. So there's an A in there, the arts. So how did you get your inspiration for how you work as an artist? How did you become an artist?
Well, when I was a kid, my lifelong ambition was to become a Disney animator. You know, those Disney television shows on my television set in the Disney movies at my local theater. That was the very first time I realized that I could tell stories by drawing. I've always loved stories and I've always loved drawing. So early on, I would practice drawing in that Disney animation style. I eventually discovered comic books when I was in the fifth grade, and everything changed. After that, I tried out other styles, but I think that Disney influence is still there. Nowadays, I think when you compare my art with the art of some of my graphic novelist friends, I would say that my art is a little more simple. Like a lot of my friends call it lazy because I don't do any cross hatching or anything. But that really does come from, like, that's how animation cells are drawn, right? They don't do a lot of cross hatching or anything like that.
Well, I know you were a lover of comics, and I will say I love New Superman. You reinvented that character that we all know in such a beautiful, beautiful way. And you talk about your love of comics. I mean, when you were, a kid growing up, what were your favorite comics? How did comics inspire you to, read other things as well too?
The very first comic book of my collection, the one that I got in fifth grade, was a Superman comic. It was DC Comics Presents number 57, starring Superman and the Atomic Knights. Now, I have to confess, though, even though my very first comic was a DC comic, I was a huge Marvel fan when I was a
Mhm.
kid. For whatever reason, I just thought Marvel was cooler than DC. You know, I don't think that anymore because I work for DC now. But I did when I was a kid.
Gene, X-Men 137 broke my heart. I think it's the first time a book ever made me cry. I have to
Yeah,
admit
yeah,
to
yeah. I
everyone
mean,
listening.
I think like my parents did not think of comic books as literature, right? I was reading all these stories about people in tights, but I very distinctly remember this time when I was in high school. I was reading Dark Knight Returns, which is one of the classic Batman comics, and in my high school English class, my teacher was talking about how Shakespeare would use weather as a storytelling device, and I was seeing the same thing in that Batman comic. Frank Miller was using weather as a storytelling device. And that was one of the first times where there was this link between the stories I was buying at my comic book shop and the stories that I was learning about in my English class. I really think that comics kind of led to me appreciating those English class stories even more.
Gene, I think it's the reason I'm teaching Shakespeare now. I must admit,
Yeah.
I don't want to miss out on an opportunity to talk to you about your newest book, Secret Coders. Can you describe the world you created, Secret Coders? Stately Academy, Hopper, robot birds, turtle. It was amazing.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Secret Coders is a joint project. I did it with a good friend of mine named Mike Holmes, who nowadays is probably better known for his current graphic novel series called Wings of Fire. It's like this huge, huge hit. But Mike is one of the greatest artists that I've ever met. I was really lucky to get to work with him. So I did the story and he did the art. And we tell the story like we try to sell secret coders like Harry Potter, in part because we wanted to sell like Harry Potter. But you know how Harry Potter, there's like a group of kids and they find their secret school that teaches magic. In Secret Coders, it's the same thing. A group of kids find a secret school, but instead of teaching magic, they're teaching coding. I was a high school computer science teacher for 17 years. I majored in computer science. I really do love coding, and I've always wanted to do a comic book about coding. Uh, I would say the big difference between Secret Coders and Harry Potter is when you read about these kids in Harry Potter learning magic, you can't do the same things, right? You can't perform those same tricks. But with coding, you can. When you read about kids doing coding in Secret Coders, you can actually take the code that they write in a story and type it into your computer and it'll work. That's one of the reasons why I loved coding so much when I was a kid. I really thought of it as magic. Like you type in these words, they're kind of like magic words, and something amazing happens.
I had a question for that. You wrote in your book, "Computers are magic, and anyone can become a magician, a coder," and I thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
So you touched on that. I don't want to give away too much. I want everyone to read your amazing book, but you left us a little bit of a cliffhanger there. What's next for Secret Coders?
Well, Secret Coders is 6 volumes. The first one is blue. I think the next one is pink, and the next one is purple. And as the series goes on, we actually follow this group of kids, Hopper and Annie and Josh, as they grow in power, meaning as they learn how to code more, better and better. And really, what they're learning to do is code these robots. So they discover all of these different robots with different powers. And it really is like discovering superpowers, right? When you figure out how to code, it's like training yourself on on a new superpower. That's how I want kids to feel. And I'm hoping that it'll inspire kids to learn coding in real life.
Well, I'm inspired. I'm going to try to give it my best to learn that. Gene, thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much.